Well, g'day and welcome to the SRT Trackmasters Academy 2021 Season 3, round number 1 tonight from Racekraft Simulations. My name is Christopher Mitchell and I am your host for tonight. And I'm a very happy boy because I got to get my hands on a brand new SimMagic Alpha Mini wheelbase and GT4C wheel tonight. Part 1 of our fantastic little review series coming out very shortly here. Shot in entirely one take, edited in a grand total of 15 minutes. You are going to get the most raw and real opinion of this fantastic wheel available from SimMagic, coming out on Racecraft Simulations Facebook page very shortly. But tonight, it's all about the racing action. We're in Aussie racing cars. How cool are these little pocket rockets? We're talking little 1100, 1300cc motorcycle engine powered, practically go-karts. Let's be real. They're go-karts with fiberglass bodies, wings and splitters, and even grabbing the attention of Aussie racing cars social media channels today as we get to go racing with the ARC Camaro, as it's called, within the Automobilista 2 platform. We're following along with the multi-time champion of V8 utes and saloon cars and various forms of race cars around Western Australia and Australia. Grant Johnson currently third in qualifying with just a couple, or not even a minute remaining here. 35 seconds left on the clock as he rockets his way around the Londrino circuit here in Brazil. I don't have any information for the Londrino circuit. It's one of those ones that's inside Automobilista 2, and I can't really find any information about the circuit outside of the game. But it's a cool little track. It's going to be plenty of fun, and I got a chance to have a couple of quick laps on the triple screen rigs before we got started tonight. It is a whole barrel of fun here. Jonasita, though, on top in qualifying with a 121.4 as we round down the clock here. Cameron Edwards jumping up into the second spot, a 122.3. There is 9/10 of a second from Jonah to Cameron. That is a huge off gap. Anthony Julesy Jewel going to the third spot here with a 122.5. Grant Johnson on screen right now with a 122.6. Here goes to P4. Clint Harvey going to the 5 spot here. Johnson and Harvey only recently making a step into the simulator world, and they are going very quick in these Racecraft League nights. So this is fantastic to see these guys going fast here. Walker in 6. Stock. It's not Skinner, it's Stock in the 7th spot. Hyperden in the 8. Josh Cochran P9. Then it's Andy Skinner rounding out your 10 with Brendan Unger in the 11th spot. Dave Flett in the 12. Nick Cochran in the 13. Anthony Malkin joining from V-Race in the 14th spot. And George K rounding out your 15. We've got a 29 car field though, I think. Let's look at our full tidings so you can see them nice and clear here. And we'll go further down the order here. We had Andy Malkin 15, 14, George K in 15. Then Lockie, Barry Punter, Connor W, Mr. Magoo. R10 was John Lee, but we handed the keys over to Cade Bell after he had a couple of technical difficulties, and Johnny gets to sit back and enjoy the action and pick out a bag of pork rinds to watch on from tonight here. So that's Cade Bell in P20 here, the Waylander in 21. Alex Newton, Pro Sim Racer in P22, as that's all we get to look at. Qualifying session rounds out. We get another quick look at the times here before we advance the session. We let everyone have a quick opportunity to jump out, have a drink, talk about how good they were, and get ready for the half-an-hour race tonight here. And we go all the way down to the remaining order down the order. This is going to be a red-hot race here. We see Michael Peps showing up as well. He goes to the 7th spot. Didn't quite catch him. No, I was reading through the order a moment ago, but he shows up 7th in qualifying. But it's Jonah Sita. Once again, Jonah taking the pole spot in a Racecraft League night. We're going to have to start limiting his skinny pedal. We're going to start limiting his throttle a little bit soon and slowing him down to equalise the field. So the new season for Season 3 of 2021 of the SRT Trackmasters Academy goes in 4-week rotations. Week 1, which is where we're here right now in the ARC Camaro, the Aussie racing cars. Week 2 will go to the Dallara F309 in Automobilista 2. Week 3 will be GTE cars as part of the Racing USA Expansion Pack DLC through Automobilista 2. And then week 4 will go to the Daytona prototype. It's the Cadillac, I believe, which is a rebranded version of the Dallara P217, which is a fantastic fun car to drive. We've cut some laps in it with some fun nights here in our Racecraft crew, running around at Spa with that car, and it is an absolute ball. So that is the 4-week rotation. We have 5 rounds of each car. So all in all, it's going to be a 20-week slog here at Racecraft Simulations, going through all 5 rounds of all 4 cars as we set to the grid and we get set to go. This could be a really tight race. For those people who don't know the track, I'm going to get the track map up for everyone to have a look at here. And Jonah Sita starting on the pole spot here. We show him on camera. He will start alongside Cameron Edwards. This will be the battle we want to watch here. Anthony Jewell will be keen to get amongst it. And just because they want to confuse us, Edwards and Jewell running matching paint schemes here. Clint Harvey running the same paint scheme as Jonah Sita at the front here. He's out of P4 with Grant Johnson in the number 13 in P5. Walker in P6. Michael Peps back there in P7. Andy Stock in the 8th spot. Hyperden in P9. And Andrew Skinner rounding out your top 10. And look at the field going all the way back through the field. This is going to be an epic race here. It's a fairly long run down all the way down to turn 1, which doesn't really have much complications to it. It's flat chat, hard against the right-hand side, tap of the brake before you tip into this undulating and really confusing second corner at the left-hander before you run off to the outside and catch yourself on that outside curving. We'll probably see a lot of that at the start of this race as we just wait for the formalities. The weekly John Lee speech having to be delivered through someone else's headset tonight as Johnny finds himself ejected from his rig in favour of Cade Bell having a steer. So Johnny will not get to race with us tonight, unfortunately, for the big man who puts in all the work to put on these league night races and gathering in a solid 29 car field. He's unfortunately not going to get to race with us tonight. So Johnny sitting on the sidelines as it looks like we are getting set to go racing any moment now. There we go, we reset, we're on the starting grid. Watch the lights to go green and send us racing here from Londrino in Brazil. No start there from Jonah Sita. Cameron Edwards once again getting an amazing start. Cameron Edwards loves to get these amazing starts, and the calls start flying around the room very quickly about jump starts, but we'll leave that up to the post-race review here as we follow the field down into turn 1. Somehow there's 2 of the yellow cars on top of each other. But it's Anthony Jewell getting out front here in the all-yellow Jevstar Racing ARC Camaro, who leads from Cameron Edwards in the second spot. Clint Harvey into the third spot now from Jonah in 4. So we've got 2 almost teammates, 2 sets of almost teammates with identical paint schemes as they go switching through the chicane and onto this long back straight. They're going to pick the speed right up. The toe's going to be important here. Grant Johnson in the 5 spot, Walker in 6, Hyperdent in 7, Stock in 8, Brendan Unga in the 9, and Andy Skinner rounding out your 10. But it's Julesy punching a big old hole in the air here for Cameron Edwards down the back straight and through that top end corner. Cars flying around behind them. It's getting dicey here with Jonah and Clint already trying to find their way around. Someone looking up the inside. That's Jonah. Look up the inside of Cameron Edwards. He's going to try and sneak through. And Jonah Sita pushes Cameron Edwards wide. He grabs a second spot. Edwards weaving across the track, trying to hang on to it here. Might have gassed it up, and these cars really sit on the rear tyre and start to slide around like a drift car. And Edwards now down to the 3rd spot. Look at the gap that Julesy and Jonah have managed to build up as well. Bit of bump and grind going on here as Walker forcing his way through on Edwards, drops Cameron down to the 4th spot. And Edwards falling back through the field here. He seems to struggle on full fuel, does Cameron. He qualifies himself quite well in a half-hour-long session, usually getting there right at the end of the session. But then the early stages of the race, Cameron seems to struggle on a heavy fuel load as they go rocketing down the back straightaway again. We follow along with Cameron Edwards into the 4th spot behind Walker at the moment as they go through the almost 90-degree left-hander at the end of the back straight before they drag onto the brake and go through that second left-hander. And then it's a 3rd assault on the outside tyres as again they go through this long left-hand hairpin before feeding it back across the racetrack and going through the long right-hand hairpin and on the run down onto the main straightaway. Lots of undulation on this circuit as well, which makes things interesting from a tyre management perspective, having to look after the front tyres as on undulating tracks, the front tyres like to scrub quite a lot. As we're going to check in with the battle at the front now. Sita and Jewell going side by side through turn 1 and into turn 2. Who's going to gather it up and get the better run through the chicane? Sita all up over the curb. Julesy pulls alongside him here. He has the inside run into the left-hand hairpin, but Sita trying to slide his way around him is going to take that outside line. And Sita will drop back to 2nd on time, but is only 1,000th of a second adrift as he feeds back to the inside and retakes the race lead. Jonah Sita back to the point now as they hit the back straight. And rocketing down, we are 26.5 minutes to go in this one. It's a half an hour long race as our computer showing a bit of net coding as the guys behind getting into each other. Edwards and Walker still showing hung up on each other on our stream screen as Julesy so sideways trying to gather it up at the left-handers. And behind them, Cameron Edwards has forced his way through into that 3rd spot. Clint Harvey now going through to P4. Walker dropping off into P5. It looks like this battle's going to settle down for a second. A very tight entry into the right-hand hairpin for Jonah Sita there, feeding his way onto the main straightaway again to start his 4th lap of the race. And he leads by just 0.8 of a second over Anthony Jewell back there in the 2nd spot. Cameron Edwards, another 0.6 of a second adrift in the 3rd spot. And then a second further back to Clint Harvey in P4. Walker in P5, Hyperdent P6, Nick Cochran having a good run here in P7 from Andy Skinner in the 8, Barry Punter from V-Race in P9, George K rounding out your top 10. Keeping an eye on where Andy Malkin's ended up. He's fallen way down the order. Andy all the way down to the 19th spot. We'll have a quick scroll further back through the field because there's a couple of tasty little battles going on here. This is George K at the moment hanging on to P10, and right behind him is Wayland, almost running up into his rear bumper under brakes here. That was in the hairpin at turn 3, and they are going to go side by side in the chicanes onto the back straightaway. Waylander has the inside line but buttons out of it. George Kay will hold on to the spot, and they're going to go side by side again onto the back straightaway. Waylander really wants this 10th spot here from Mr. Magoo. Drag racing with Dave Flett further behind for the 12th and 13th spots, I should say, down the back straight of here. Cade Bell down here in the R10 machine. He's in 14th spot. Currently hanging on to it here is Josh Cochran back there in 16. Brendan Ung has fallen all the way down to the 17th spot. He was doing well early, had himself up inside the top 10, but now way down the order from Andrew Lachlan in P18 as Brendan very late on the brakes, almost ran into the back of the cars in front of him into that second to last corner at the hard left hand pin. He looks to the inside to try and grab the spot in the Brookfield tuning Camaro as they make their way onto the main straightaway. Now Alex Newton, the pro sim racer, he's got the elbows out right in the middle of a knife fight of his own here between Stock and Grant Johnson. Johnson's had a shocker of an opening few laps. He's all the way down in P21. Now Andy Malkin all the way down in 22nd place here from Gordon Adams, and Mikkel Peps way down the order as well. Vochkovic rounding out your 25 cars. This is a fantastic field we have here for the opening night of a new season. Season 3 for 2021 here at Racecraft Simulations. Look at Jonah just sideways through the left-handers. Overcooked it a little bit there, coming off the back straight, but he is at maximum attack. And we did a test night, an end-of-season wrap-up night a couple of weeks ago here at Racecraft Simulations, where we tested these cars on a street circuit. We quickly worked out that the way to drive them was like you were in a qualifying run for Formula Drift. And that's exactly how it's turned out. Getting on the lock stops and driving these cars on the rear end seems to be the way to keep them happy within this game platform of Automobilista 2. Not sure how the real thing is able to go. I don't think they can quite drive the same as that, but who knows? Never been inside an Aussie racing car myself. But we are on at the moment. Sita still all crossed up through that hairpin as he makes his way around onto the back straightaway. Now Edwards trying to put pressure on Julesy for second and third at the moment. There is 0.6 of a second between them. And Edwards just sitting plumb between Jule and Clint Harvey at the moment as we follow Julesy down the back straightaway in second. Edwards back there in the third spot. Clint Harvey in P4. You can see him just behind this battle pack at the moment, right at the back there in that black and green entry. The Walker rounding out your top 5 Hyperden in the 6th spot. Andrew Skinner, ever the consistent driver, sitting in P7. From Nick Cochran having a good night here in the 8th spot. And Punter and Flett rounding out your top 10. 21 minutes and 50 to go here. G'day to everyone who's watching live online. Thanks for joining us for the opening night. Jump on over to the YouTube video and say hello in the chat if you want to join in the fun. Give me your predictions on what's going to happen through the field. If you want to see any more action, or if you want us to focus on any other drivers. Alexani shouting out to Julesy, saying he's trash. I don't know what to say to Alec of that. I mean, you're not here, bro. You should be here racing with us. It's so odd to see these smaller, shrunken versions of Camaros with the drivers sitting smack bang in the middle, working their way around this Brazilian race circuit with Automobilista. How good was that there? Julesy grabbing a whole bunch of curb as he rocks through the chicane and onto the back straightaway underneath the Pirelli banner. As we follow along with him at the moment, we'll move forward. We'll move backwards actually through the field. We'll check out what's happening further back here. There's a big gap from 8th of Nick Cochran to 9th of Barry Punter. It's out to the tune of 9 seconds between them. But this battle for 9th and 10th is on here. We follow along with Punter at the moment. Starting to come under a bit of pressure from our man Dave Flett, rocking in one of the newly refurbished Racecraft M10 equipped machines here. Now with triple screens, and it looks like everyone's loving the triple screen setup. No one's rocking VR goggles tonight. Everyone going for the triples and an audio headset as Dave Flett tries to close up this gap and put some pressure on the back of Barry Punter to move up a spot inside the top 10 in the opening round of the Aussie Racing Cars category of the SRT Australia Trackmasters Academy for Season 3 2021. It's going to be a fantastic season. Looking forward to running Dallara F309s next week for the opening round of that championship. Finding myself enjoying anything F3 lately. It's a weird obsession, I know, but if you're an iRacer, you know exactly what I mean, because the iRacing F3s are absolutely sublime. Bit of a lock up there for Punter as he comes into the chicane at the end of the straight. Bit of a grab at the curb on the exit. That's a very aggressive set of curbing as well. Lots of corrugation in that curb, as you can see. Dave Flett looking at the outside to see if he can get a bit of a momentum run here. Oh, crossed up on the exit. George Kay's right there now. We might have a three-way fight for the top 10 here, with Brendan Ung and Cade Bell fighting it out for 12th and 13th. We'll jump on board with that battle now. So Bell, as it looks like Brendan's actually had himself an off. He's dropped down another spot here as Josh Cochran moves up into the 13th spot. Brendan finding himself under pressure from Magoo and Stock in 15th and 16th at the moment. And behind him you can see that big gaggle of cars there. That's Grant Johnson, Alex Newton and Andrew Lachlan, all stacking up with them here as Dave Flett has found himself in some trouble. And I can't seem to grab Dave Flett, but he's fallen down. It won't let me grab Dave Flett. But anyway, he has fallen down the order. He's down in 13th now, so he's made a mistake and he's let Barry Punter go here. George Kay has jumped up into the 10th spot now, and Cade Bell into P11. We'll jump back forward and check on the battle. There's 6/10 of a second at the moment between Cameron Edwards and Clint Harvey, as it looks like our battle at the front of the field has really opened up very quickly. That's what you get sometimes with these kinds of races. Guys of different experience and skill levels jump in to a series that is designed to bring people who've not got their own simulator rigs into centre and into racing, and get them addicted early into the racing simulation world and get them spending money and having fun. But that's what it's all about. And the rule is, the more money you spend, the more fun you have. That's how it works. I can guarantee it for someone who spent a hell of a lot of money. Now, it's good fun, and it's a great way to get people involved. This is a championship to come and do it. You can do a arrive and drive in centre at Racekraft Simulations. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus rigs in-house for you to choose from if you want to come in and sample some of the rigs and check them out. And then you can get going in this League Night series every Tuesday night throughout the season. It's a 20-week season for Season 3 2021 that'll see us run all the way through until sometime mid-December, I believe, if my mathematics is correct. We're in August now, so that sees us pretty much all the way through to mid-December, which will be a fantastic way to get going into sim racing world. And if you feel so inclined, you can then buy your own rig and get it set up, and you can join in from home as well, which is a great way to go racing, and that gets you started. And it's a good camaraderie as well. Most of the people that race in these championships race on a regular basis across different championships, and also run with some of the other racecraft guys in various esports competitions through the iRacing platforms and a couple of other things. We've got some friends who enjoy the rallying, we've got some friends who enjoy the drifting, we've got some friends who run in the V8S Scots series, some that run in the AOSC. With my mate Matty Kavanagh on the mic presenting some of the action here, and of course we've got our own little Racecraft sub-team that running in the Formula 3 Australia League, which is really cool. It was a 3-man team, and I made it 4, and now I think we're out to about 7 running in F3A Silver, which we've had a week off this week due to iRacing doing maintenance on Monday night. But we are back on next week at Road Atlanta next Monday night, which should be a really fun one, with 45 cars lining up on the grid. This is Hyper Dan at the moment in the 7th spot here as we're approaching the halfway point of the race. Alexani in the chat saying he'll be here next round, and saying I should be racing too. Yeah, I'll be here now, or I'll be at home on my rig running my new SimMagic Alpha Mini, but I'll be joining in and racing some Dallara F3s in this series next week. Should be great fun. As Hyper Dan driving himself onto the back of this hot little battle for 5th, 6th and 7th at the moment, as they work their way onto the back straightaway. Something's happened to Jonah. when I say something, it's probably just exactly what usually happens to Jonah. Jonah has made a mistake and dropped off to second, and that puts Anthony Jewell into the race lead here. I'm sure Liz is watching on from home at the moment. Shout out to Liz, enjoying the action. Screaming at the TV. Go Julesy! With his horrific moustache as he holds on to the race lead. Jonah Sita, 0.6 of a second adrift into the second spot. And Jonah already on the excuse button. It's round 1 of the championship. Screaming out across the room here at Racecraft, saying he's slowed down to have a race with Julesy. I don't know about that. Jonah usually finds himself stuffed into a wall. So he could have actually slowed down, because it's uncharacteristic for Jonah to make a mistake small enough that it would hurt him on time, but keep him on the racetrack. So Jonah back there to second now, trying to find his way around Anthony Jewell, your race leader. Further back, it's Clint Harvey into the third spot here. Cameron Edwards trying to chase him down. We got 2 by 2, they come marching, of matching liveries, battling it out for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Back to Walker in P5. Hyperden now up to the 6th spot. He put Skinner and Cochran down the spots into 7th and 8th. Barry Punter in P9. George Kay rounding out your 10. Bit of a mover in this one so far has been Cade Bell. He's in the R10 machine. He was outside the top 20 at the start of the race, and he finds himself moving up and nudging on the back door of P10, but he just found himself actually on the back door of P10, and unfortunately come a cropper of that one as he rejoins now into the 14th spot, just catching a car on the way through. Unfortunate stuff. Oh my God, how many cars do you want in one space of the racetrack? That is going to be a red hot battle as Cade Bell is trying to slice and dice and serve on Rice his way through that pack. He's now up to 14th again. He's going to be charging forward. He's trying to defend from Alex Newton, who wants to put the pressure on here. Alex himself up a few spots into P15. As, oh my God, they're getting together pretty hard here. And they're driving across the racetrack. Someone was exit stage left there on the slider. And that was George Kay, who was a moment ago running in 11th. And he rejoins across the racetrack and falls down to 15th again. So this puts Cade Bell exactly where he was. In the space of one lap, Cade Bell has gone from 11th to 15th and back to 11th. And now setting his sights on the back of now Dave Flett in the 10th spot. Try and get himself into the top 10. Amazing what can happen in the space of a single lap here in the SRT Trackmasters Academy Aussie Racing Cars Championship. "12 minutes to go here at Racecraft Simulations for the SRT Trackmasters Academy ARC Camaro Championship Round 1. The opening round of Season 3 2021 here. Jonah Sita back to the point now. Puts Anthony Jewell down to the 2nd spot. We're going to go on board with Jonah, once I can figure out where we're going here. On board inside the car for a lap of this beautiful circuit in Brazil. So with a minute and a half to go, there's been a couple of issues for Jonah Sita, and it's been an absolute struggle for Jonah to try and find his way around traffic. But we followed this battle. Clint Harvey and Cameron Edwards side by side down the back straight. This is getting dicey for third. They are fighting it out. And Edwards trying to go around the outside as there's cars spun out at the left-hander. They're going to go side by side. Jonah has lost more time. In fact, Jonah is back into the clutches of these guys now. So this is going to be a three-way fight for the podium with a 1 minute to go. As Edwards gives a bit of a bump to Clint Harvey. They go side by side onto the main straightaway. Edwards through to third. Now he sets his sights forward onto the back of Sita. Can he close up? 1.2 seconds to catch Sita as they go charging down the line. They've got a big old gap over George Walker and Andrew Skinner at the moment, with Hyperden all in there for 5, 6 and 7 on the road. Clint Harvey back into the 4 spot now, outside of a podium run on the opening night of the series. We'll pick up with Cam Edwards as he makes his way through the chicanes and onto the main straightaway. He doesn't seem to have the pace to close the gap to the back of Jonah, who's once again found himself in trouble with traffic, and now 5.5 seconds off the back of Julesy. As the time runs out, Anthony Jewell, making his way through the final corners, is going to get lucky here for the opening round of the ARC Camaro Championship, as he comes around the final left-hander for the final time at the end of half an hour of racing here at Racecraft Simulations. And out of the final corner, Julesy will survive, merely just trying to stay lucky and stay clean through traffic all race long, as Julesy runs it down the line, weaving his way in celebration, flicking the wipers as well. Julesy grabs the win for round 1 of the SRT Trackmasters Academy ARC Camaro Championship. Jonah Sita will run it around and cross the line in second. Cameron Edwards will grab third in a last lap dash with Clint Harvey, who comes home P4. Hyperden losing out here. Andrew Skinner will bring it around the final couple of corners. Skin Man will go to the P5 spot. So a great result here for Andy Skinner, running around the final few corners to grab P5. George Walker racing across the line for P6. Hyperden going to lose out in P7 over Nick Cochran, who brings it down the line in the 8th spot. Cade Bell recovering from deep outside of P20 in the early stages of the race. He comes home in P9. The same for Alex Newton. A result for him in P10. Grant Johnson will bring it through the final corner in P11 over Barry Punter in the 12th spot. Josh Cochran P13. Dave Flett 14. Brendan Ung rounding out your 15 of a 25 plus car field here at Racecraft Simulations. It's been a tough old race tonight, but the opening lap here, we're going to try and grab Julesy. Julesy, come on over here, mate, and have a chat to wrap up the night, as we'll pick him up. Julesy, mate, it's been a bit of a tough race. You were struggling there to hold pace with Jonah. He claimed he slowed down for you. Did you ask him to slow down so you could race him?
No, so before the race, we were just like, we'll battle beforehand. But then, mid-race he slowed up, and then we're battling around, and then, long story short, he's buggered up, and I'm slowing down for him again, and he's been T-boned by a lap car. I'm like, well, yeah, so I'll kind of claim that one.
I mean, you've got to take them how they come sometimes, but in terms of kicking off a new season, a win to start off your night can't be a bad thing, can it?
I mean, considering I won the last race of last season, then starting back up with another win must be pretty good, so pretty happy with that.
How much fun are these Aussie racing cars to drive? They look like they're a bit of hard work to keep them steady when they're nice and sideways, but driving them on the edge of adhesion is the way to go, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. These things are really fun to drive, really loose, but then at the same time you can throw them in really hard into a corner at the same time, and they'll stay on the track. You just got to muscle it around the corner to sort of keep it pointing in the right direction, and it'll sort of do the rest for you if you just keep it all together.
Well, there you have it. Anthony Jewell, your winner for the opening round of the ARC Camaros here in the SRT Trackmasters Academy Championship for Season 3 2021. As Julesy grabs the race win, Jonah Sita grabs second, Cam Edwards in the third spot here. Clint Harvey misses out and goes P4. Andy Skinner P5 to wrap things up here. That is round 1 of the SRT Trackmasters Academy ARC Camaro Championship. Thank you for joining us live on YouTube from Racecraft Simulations. You want to find more information about our fantastic rigs and equipment, go to Facebook, head on over to Racecraft Simulations. We're always posting over there. Plenty of stories and plenty of cool content coming out of this place. And if you want to find more information about our awesome rigs and services, go to racecraft.net and you can go shopping and spend some money with Johnny. I'm sure he'll be happy to do you a service and get you addicted to this fantastic hobby. Next week we'll be back again with Dallara F3s if you want to join us for the first round of the Dallara F309 Championship in Automobilista 2. Get in touch and book yourself a seat in centre or talk to him about joining from your home rig. Our next broadcast will be in 2 weeks' time for the opening round of GTEs. Stay tuned. Like and follow Racecraft Simulations on Facebook, or like and follow and subscribe to John's Racecraft Simulations channel on YouTube. My name's Chris Mitchell. It's been a pleasure to host you tonight. We'll see you next time.